behind. They're all fired up. What we got to do? First place, our defense has got to go out there and take the ball. And when we get the ball, we got to have 11 people that's going to do their job and try to score every time you get the football. If we do that, we'll be all right. That will be all right.
Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Football University, where we talk anything and everything football related here at the university, at Football University. And we find a way to bring it back to Alabama. And speaking of Alabama, we had a long weekend, and we're going to get into some stuff. We're going to talk about Bama versus UCF, Coach Saban, Tommy Rees. Get in the student section. We're gonna rock and roll. Shouts out to everybody in the student section. I hope you had a great weekend of football. I know for us Bama fans, it was a little difficult watching that game. So let's get right into it. Listen, hit that like, subscribe button, tell somebody about the show. We're gonna get it rocking and rolling here, and yeah, let's get it started. Let's just. I know last week I talked about how I'm gonna be very therapeutic, coming off that loss versus Texas, and a lot of it was built up, and everybody was looking forward to see how Bama was gonna bounce back, and it was very interesting to see us. The performance, how we came out versus South Florida. But, a lot of drama had ensued that, Tyler Buckner was going to get the start. And, I had kind of heard some things, from guys that have been at scrimmages, and they were saying, oh, Buckner looks pretty good and all this stuff. And so, it was interesting to see. So, watching the game Saturday in Tampa at Raymond James Stadium, home of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know we got some Buck fans out there. The defense, I thought, played a pretty good game. I feel like the defense stopping the offensive coordinators basically running Tennessee's defense. So I think we were kind of strategic when it came to that. But I thought defense did pretty well. I wanted to see how we were going to play up front. I know we got a lot more pressure. Chris Braswell, Dallas Turner, those guys came to play. We didn't have Jaheim Otis. We didn't have Kendrick Law. But offensively, Tyler Buckner, he was struggling. And to me, that showed a lot about how Tommy Rees is, and I'm going to get right into it. I think Tommy Rees, I don't want to say he's end over his head. I'm hoping that this is just all, show. Stephen Hicks has a great point. I hope it's just all show, and, we're really opening up the playbook versus, South Florida, but it was struggle. It was brutal for Bama fans. I mean, Buckner looked like he was out of sync. he didn't look that great, but yet Tommy Rees kept rolling with him, and I know that's his guy from Notre Dame, but after that second and third drive, I thought we should have pulled him, went with Ty Simpson. I was under the impression we were going with Ty Simpson a little bit earlier, but man, we were struggling, and we kept playing Ty Simpson. Then the rain ensued. Thank God the rain saved us, because God was like, oh my gosh, this is not looking good. Let me send us some rain down there and wash away all this bad QB play and decision making by Tommy Rees. So, as we did not look good, and Ty Simpson was able to get in. The offensive line still tends to be a big issue. I said last week, if there weren't any changes, it's going to be a long season. And let's talk about the offensive line. Somebody has get in the student section. Shouts out to the student section. Roll Tide, Rise Up, Stephen Hicks, Nick Saban Jr., Mr. Jones, Lori Cadell. Listen, we got a lot to talk about. Mr. Jones says, I think the O-line gets it together for this game. We'll be all right. Speaking of the O-line, I still think our weakest part is Caden Proctor. I thought Seth McLaughlin, he's getting better. I know we were on Dalcourt. Actually, Dalcourt played pretty decent in this game. I know Booker got hurt. But listen, I still think we need to rotate more guys, up front offensively. Maybe we bring in Caden Proctor, maybe put him at guard, kind of get his feet wet, because it looks like we're still giving up a lot of sacks, even from Middle Tennessee State to Texas to South Florida. No matter the quarterback, we're still giving up tons of sacks. I think we're averaging like 4 or 5 sacks given up each game. And it's mainly coming from that left side, Caden Proctor. If it's speed guy out there, he's having difficulties, so I do think we did find some bright spots. I think we found a good running back. I think we just need to run the ball downhill, and hit our home run shots around. But, it was pretty struggle to see. And I want to get your thoughts in the student section, because I've heard these theories saying maybe Coach Saban was, putting the quarterbacks out there to kind of prove a point, to show that really Jalen Milroe is the starter. And yes, Coach Saban came out in his press conference today, which we will discuss and talk about how Jalen Milroe is the starter, his leadership skills. I know he didn't play Saturday. I kind of heard maybe he was in concussion protocol coming from the Texas game, and that's the reason he didn't play. But listen, it's a lot of things that Alabama's got to get lined up moving forward going to Ole Miss. So I'm going to pause right there, and let's get to the student section. Let's get to some of these comments. Stephen Hicks says, who's ready to see the team rally around Milroe? Yes, Jalen Milroe, Coach Saban announced it. He is the starter. I hope Jalen Milroe goes out there and continues to develop. He was able to watch the game from the sideline. I think that was kind of good for him to just kind of see, he was still showing leadership skills on the sideline. The first one on the sideline, it was a viral moment, him cheering for Ty Simpson. Talking reminds you of the character that a Jalen Hurts had when he was at the University of Alabama, when he maybe got benched. He still persevered, had a positive attitude, show what type of character that he has, and show what type of leadership that he has. And I think that's what's great for this team. Now we just got to get Tommy Rees. Tommy Rees, if Tommy Rees can do a game plan, like I said at the beginning of the show, hopefully it's, him and Coach Saban wanted to look like crap the first 3 weeks. And, now they're ready to look good versus SEC play, especially with Lane Train, Pete Golden, Hottie Toddy, the Ole Miss Rebels coming into town, the T-Town. So hopefully this is by design. But, Tommy Rees has got to get his game plan. I think everything went to bed. I think he's on very, 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 very thin ice. Listening to Coach Saban's press conference today, it sounded like the old Coach Saban coming out, naming his starter, naming the quarterback, and let's roll with it. So let's go to the student section. Let's see how these comments, I know y'all are rocking and rolling. Roll Tide and Rise Up says, strange strategy. I hope so. Listen, that's just me saying, hopefully it's got to be something going on that we don't know about. I think it is a strange strategy. That's just what I'm guessing. I do think Milroe was in concussion protocol, but I don't think they were going to say it to the media. I think they're going to use it as an opportunity for these guys, Buckner, Simpson, to get, playing time to see how they were going to play. And listen, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, Milroe's the best quarterback, and Ty Simpson is our backup quarterback. Tyler Buckner, he can be scout team this week for Jason Dart. I still think it's Milroe, Simpson, and I think they're trying to save a red shirt for Dylan Lonergan. I don't think they want to pull that red shirt, but I think they might have to go ahead and pull it versus one of these non-conference games. Mr. Jones says, yeah, we were playing possum. Yeah, I hope we were. That's just my prayer because we look so bad. We were looking really bad. Listen, Buckner is not it. I mean, he looked like he had no command of the offense, couldn't throw the ball. Balls were behind the receivers, no flow. I mean, the first drive, he ran quick passes and ran pistol. And I'm like, why did you do this game plan for Milroe? So Tommy Rees has it. It just seems like Tommy Rees is, maybe catering to his guy, wanting to give his guy a shot. Listen, this is Alabama football. This is not Notre Dame. Alabama fans know anything, if not more, about football than what you said. So, Justin Summerlin says, great comment. He says, Matt Milroe wasn't in concussion protocol. I know that for a fact. Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, you probably know more stuff than me, but I'm just going off what I was hearing, right before the game from some sources. So it's going to be interesting. But I do think either way, we look very bad. And I hope somebody says we need to rally around Milroe. Yes, I agree. We do need to get behind Jalen Milroe, Jeff Roy, because he is the best quarterback. I think what's important, if Tommy Rees, I'm telling you, it goes to Tommy Rees. If Caden Proctor is struggling, put a running back, run a screen to that side. If that defensive end is shooting up the field, let him shoot up the field, run a screen. It's open all day. Like put a running back, put an extra tight end over there. Like it's not that hard. Do RPOs, do quick game. Like a lot of our routes that we were trying to run, even with Ty Simpson and Buckner on Saturday, even with Jalen Milroe versus Texas, they were a lot of long developing routes, kind of similar to what we were seeing with Bill O'Brien last year. These defenses were giving us short, quick games. And what better way a great offensive coordinator is what I'm saying does for his quarterback. He helps his quarterback by giving them quick passes, screens, hitches, quick outs, anything to get the ball out quickly. I mean, we still haven't seen a jet sweep. I think it's open all day. It's just football 101. Tommy Rees, we need you to be creative. You tried your formula with Buckner and it's not working. So we need you to hopefully Coach Saban chewed you out. I'm just being honest. I hope Coach Saban put his foot where and chewed you out and said, this is not working. I'm running my program. Jalen's the quarterback. And from what it sounded like, today was the first press conference. It sounded like old Coach Saban. He's coming out naming his starter. He even I'm not going to say took a shot at Kiffin. Kiffin was trying to throw all this conspiracy theory stuff yesterday regarding who the defensive coordinator is going to be. It's basically saying Travis Robinson, T-Rob is calling the D coordinator, and this news broke yesterday. And Coach Saban basically addressed it. And I know people want to say, oh, when Coach Saban retires, we want Lane Kiffin. These little nuances and these kind of examples, I think, is what's kind of going to hinder Lane Kiffin from being the next head football coach at the University of Alabama because of these little tactics. I don't know if the board is going to want it. Only thing he has to do is win, but he's got to be able to recruit like no other, because whoever's going to come in after Saban is going to have to be a great recruiter and a great head coach. So let's stay in the student section. Y'all are Roll Tide and Rise Up says strange strategy. I hope it works. Listen, I'm just going off what I hope, my wish list. But this is what we do here at Football University. Justin Sumler, my guy, says Reese needs to call plays around Milroe. I think he will after Nick Saban press conference. Like I said, Coach Saban sounded like himself, and I think he probably chewed out Tommy Rees from Tampa all the way to T-Town, even once he got from church on Sunday. I mean, I think Coach Saban laid into him to get this game plan. I wouldn't be surprised. Listen, this is what we do at Football University. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe some other guys are calling plays. Maybe it's Wiggins. Maybe it's Joe Cox. I think they're going to put a game plan specifically for Jalen Milroe to be successful moving forward. Because, listen, this is SEC play. We got Ole Miss. This week we got Mississippi State after that. If we can get through these two games, I think that gives us great momentum throughout the season. But we got to start handling hotty toddy down there coming from Oxford, Mississippi. So let's stay in the student section. Jeremiah Taylor, shouts out to Jeremiah Taylor, says Jalen's got a new lease on life. He does. I think he did everything he's supposed to do. I mean, what type of character does it show that you have for you to, you get the job, you get a new manager comes in and somebody else gets promoted ahead of you and you still have to have a positive attitude. Like I said, that shows what type of character, what type of leadership Jalen Hurts has. You look at, not Jalen Hurts. Well, Jalen Milroe has. It's similar to Jalen Hurts. And so I hope it comes to fruition. I hope Tommy Rees puts a game plan. Yeah, I hope Coach Saban put to the pocket. He looked heated. He looked tired. He looked like this was just show, and he's got to put his foot. I know he likes to play CEO and let his coordinators kind of do that, but you could do that with Steve Sarkisian. You could do that with Lane Kiffin because these guys had their game plan ripping and running. But like I said, we need to rally around Jalen. It's not going to look perfect, but I think if Tommy Rees gets his play calling together and just does a game plan around Jalen's strength, quick passing game, screens, I would do some wildcat with Kendrick Law, just to throw the defense off, speed sweeps, jet sweeps. And then we know he can hit the home run ball. We just got to stir up offensive line protection. That's what I said. Put a tight end over there, have a chipping linebacker, a running back come out there, and then run the screen with the halfback. I mean, you can run it with the tight end. We have a lot of stuff. Roll Tide and Rise Up says a great point. Saban is tired of all this outside chatter. He has to be affecting the locker room. And speaking of Coach Saban, like I said, listen to his press conference. It sounded like the old Coach Saban. And I think a lot of chatter where there's message boards, things coming out from sources about the locker room, Ty Simpson, Buckner, Tommy Rees. I think Coach Saban did a lot of, coming to Jesus moments, having those tough conversations with his leadership council, with Tommy Rees, and with the players. I think these guys I think the team was, pulling for Milroe, wanted to see the best for Milroe and to have, maybe Tommy Rees kind of do his own thing and go away from Milroe. And kind of focus on this guy. That could cause a lot of discord in the locker room. And I'm going to talk about chemistry. You look at teams who have the best chemistry. You look at all the Alabama national championship teams. You look at the Mac Jones year. You look at even the year with Bryce and Will and Anderson, you had a lot of team chemistry. So I think the players had that player meeting the other day, and I think it was a coming to Jesus. They got some things off their chest, and like I said, I think Coach Saban, from what I've heard, it sounded like he had that tough conversation with Tommy Rees and his probably offensive staff and said, "This is what we're gonna do moving forward," because I can't have that, and I think he wants them to do well. And like I said, hopefully this is all like by design, and Bama wins the national championship, but we have no room for error because listen, I think it's going to be a crazy college football year. Georgia struggled last week. They still got Mike Bobo as their offensive coordinator. I don't know who the true dominant team. I think you're going to have maybe a couple of one-loss, two-loss teams in the college football playoff. We know Alabama dropped the 13th spot, which is fine with me. All thing Alabama's got to do is control what they can control and win the rest of the season. Beat LSU, get to Atlanta, and the stuff, everything's right there for them. Honest opinion on Proctor. I think sorry, I was trying to get this Jeremiah Taylor. Roll Tide to everybody. Honest opinion on Proctor. I think he has so much talent. We have such a big offensive line. We need to utilize the offensive line and just run the ball. I said some of the bright spots. Obviously, Jason McClellan, Roydell Williams. I think we found out 1-2 points. Roydell Williams seems like the running back that as the game got longer, he got stronger. We kept feeding him. Now I think we need to find that 1B. That one that third running back, and I think it's Justice Haynes. I know Jam Miller got in the game, but I'm like, hey, Justin Haynes' time is going to come, and it might come versus Ole Miss. So I think that's going to help. But I think Proctor, I look in the past and how they started, Evan Neal, Leatherwood, a lot of the great offensive linemen that come through Alabama. I think Alabama has done, they usually start him at guard, maybe the first year, then they move him to tackle. I think that's a good philosophy to kind of get his bearings going and kind of throw him in the fire. Maybe we throw him at left guard, too quickly. And if we're going to put him at left guard, maybe put Latham on that side, because that's where all the pressure is coming in, and maybe put him on the right side where you don't get all that smoke. So it is what it is. I think he's going to have to grow up. I think maybe we look at Elijah Pritchard. Maybe we look at some of these freshmen, Formby, Olanine, McVay at guard. That way we can put some of these guys at tackles. All thing we need to do is have a couple seconds. The receivers are getting open. Bond, Burton, those guys are getting open. We just got to give our offensive line, and it goes solely on Eric Wolford. I know Eric Wolford's a great offensive coordinator. Not offensive coordinator, offensive line coach. He's a great recruiter. But listen, we need you to tighten up, Coach Wolf, and get these guys rolling. Get these guys prepared, coming off the edge, especially Caden Proctor. If we're going to have any success, our offensive line is going to have to be fixed. So let's stay in the student section. Justin Summerlin. Justin Summerlin, are you just our inside source? I hope you are right, because you just rolling with all the inside information. He says, listen, heard they're moving JC to left tackle and Proctor to left guard. I think that would be a good fit. We can really run the ball. We got some experience on that left tackle. I still think we can rotate guys like Ola, Saladin, McVay, kind of find our guys. Just put a tight end over there. Everybody's agreeing with me. Quentin McCann says, I still think they need to replace Dalcourt. Yeah, like I said, I think we need to be playing about 10 guys. We got some talented freshmen. Now, like, I watched that Middle Tennessee State game. When those guys came in the game, McVay, Ola, Saladin, they were road graders. Even Terrence Ferguson, Elijah Pritchett. Like, these guys were making plays. So, Listen, y'all are preaching to the choir here at Football University. We need Tommy Rees to do it. We need Tommy Rees to do it. That's what it's all about. Hopefully, Tommy Rees is focused and not have his head up, in the stars, but he's focused on, developing a game plan because football's not that hard. We make it so difficult. So let's stay in the student section. We got a couple of roll tides. B Jammin says, off such a Mac, were you in the game? Tyrone made the greatest catch in college football history. I think I just came off the field. I think you were regarding the pro throw catch versus Southern Miss from Brody Croyle. Yeah, I think I just came off the field and pro throw made that catch. Funny story, little known fact about pro throw. I have seen him make that catch in practice at least 2 times in practice. So it was not a surprise to us to see it in the game. Yeah, yes, I've seen Proto make that catch at least 1 time in the scrimmage game, exact same catch. So Proto's still, I think if he hadn't got hurt, he would have been the Heisman finalist that year because the guy could play receiver, punt returner, running back. He could do it all. So, yes, shouts out to Tyrone Prothro. McCann says, roll tide forever. Yeah, it was brutal for us, but it's roll tide. I think we addressed the issues. I think the issues is Tommy Rees. I think we got the quarterbacks, and I think Coach Saban has chewed him out enough to get the right offensive game plan to center it around Ole Miss. And speaking of Ole Miss, we got the Rebels coming in. I heard earlier we were like an 11.5-point favorite. Now we're 6.5, 7 favorites versus Ole Miss. It's going to be a 2:30 kickoff, CBS. And yes, we have to listen to Gary Danielson. It's going to be one of those games. But I think the Tide is going to be ready to come out prepared, or at least I hope so. I think with all the outside chatter noise and having the reality set in and having to grind out a game, like, I know, just to go back to the USF game, it didn't look the best, but having to grind out a game, listen, USF had a lot of transfers. They were kind of like Colorado. We know Dion, Coach Prime, he's doing his thing up there in Boulder, Colorado. But he had I think he had the second largest transfer portal overhaul, second to Colorado. I think Colorado had like 60-some players from the portal come into Colorado. I think USF was number 2 with like 30-some players. So they had a lot of talent. And whenever you're playing those Florida boys, you get that Florida speed. Those guys were coming, and I think we looked about as low. We didn't have the energy, but we found a way to win on the road. Yes, it was USF, but I still think we found a way to persevere and get a win. And I think that's what's important, especially going into SEC play, and especially Ole Miss. They got to look at film, and they're going to be like, "Oh, we got these guys, but we can use this as an advantage." Playing possum, as we say, not looking the best. We can really make a run for it. So I think it goes on Eric Wolf, Tommy Rees, especially Tommy Rees. He needs to get his offensive game plan together. Like I said, I think Coach Saban has done his chore. I think he's thrown some tables, threw some headsets, had a one-on-one with Tommy Rees and some text messages verbally in person. Listen, I think they're going to get it right, and you're going to see a different team in Tuscaloosa come kickoff Saturday versus the Rebels. So let's stay in the student section. Let's see what y'all are rolling about. Yeah, the whole thing Bama's got to do is get the W's. And listen, I don't care how pretty they are. We just got to get the W's and get to Atlanta. We got to beat LSU. Excuse me. LSU looked really good versus Mississippi State. Granted, it was Mississippi State. It was an away game, but I think that just sets up for us handling Ole Miss. We got to get that first SEC victory. This is a big game. We know Pete Golden's going to be ready. Lane Kiffin's already. I think Lane's kind of already just being overthinking it. It is what it is. But I think Alabama can use it to their advantage and come out firing because everybody's really outside noise saying Bama's really done. Nobody believes in you. So I think it's time for the team to really say, listen, we are all we got. It's us. Listen, they need to chew out Tommy Rees. They need to make sure Tommy Rees gets the right game plan. And I'm quite sure the Coach Saban that I heard at the press conference today, I'm quite sure some conversations were had with Tommy Rees because we got to come ready. We got to come ready versus Lane Kiffin. Yes, Lane Kiffin is licking his chops. And I think Pete Golden's, he's going to come with an aggressive approach, really try to fluster Jalen Milroe, really try to get speed on the edge. But, yeah, I think we're going to be ready. I think we're going to be prepared. So it's going to be – we got to come ready because these guys are coming ready. So let's get to my next topic. So we talked about USF. We talked about I think the QB race again is Milroe. Simpson's going to be the backup. And I think maybe Dylan Lonergan. I think they're trying to hold that red shirt again. Buckner, I think he's going to go down to like 4th string or whatnot. But it is what it is. He just not impressed anybody. I think all the Alabama fans were just like, what's going on? But yeah, we talked about Saban. I think Saban, a lot is on Coach Saban. I think he had some conversation with Miss Terry. Miss Terry might have chewed him out. She might have said, this is what you need to do. You need to get on that offensive coordinator and make sure he has his you-know-what together. If not, maybe somebody else needs to call the plays. Maybe Cox, maybe Wiggins. They need to have a game plan around Jalen Milroe. And like I said, my fingers crossed that is hoping that, this was all by design. We come out, we beat, Ole Miss handily. I think that would be important for us to handle and have that first get ready to go to Mississippi State and, go handle the Bulldogs. But right now it's all about Hottie Toddy and the Ole Miss Rebels. So I talked about Rees. I got to get back to Tommy Rees. Like I said, he's got to be the one. If we're going to make this run, it's all on him. I think he knows it. I'm quite sure he's heard the noise and stuff like that. So he's got to tighten up on his end. Somebody wrote out and Rise Up says, Gary Danielson, listen, do what I do. When Gary Danielson's on the TV, I mute him and I go to Eli Gold. Shouts out to Eli Gold, battling cancer, coming back and doing the home games. So I will be listening to Eli Gold come Saturday at 2:30. Oh yeah, let's stick to the NFL Monday night game. We got the Saints, Who Dat Nation playing Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers. I think I wouldn't be surprised if Bryce are playing in Charlotte, North Carolina, at Bank of America Stadium. I wouldn't be surprised if Bryce pulls it out. Listen, Bryce is up 3-0 on the Saints. So let's stay in the NFL talk. We know we had the big Sunday night game with the Bama quarterbacks, part 2 with the Patriots. Week 1, it was Mac Jones versus the Fly Eagles Fly. Jalen Hurt led Eagles, and Jalen won that matchup. And I said, Mac just doesn't have any help. He doesn't have a go-to receiver. It was Bama quarterbacks part 2, Mac Jones versus Tua, and Tua looked great early. But listen, going against a Bill Belichick-led defense is going to be challenging, and the Miami Dolphins were able to squeak it out. So it's going to be the Bama quarterbacks look good. Jalen had a great game last Thursday night versus the Minnesota Vikings. Devontae Smith's doing his thing. So yeah, but I want to shout out the Washington Commanders and Brian Robinson Jr. Brian Robinson, listen, he put on the clinic versus the Denver Broncos. Yesterday he had 2 touchdowns. I think he led in rushing. Listen, it goes to show you when you have an offensive coordinator and Eric Bieniemy, who I think Eric Bieniemy should be an NFL head coach. You know, I wish he was the offensive coordinator right now at Alabama. But yes, you know, for them to go out there and use B Rob, run the ball, they had a good screen. Listen, I need Tommy Rees just to watch the NFL game, watch these top offensive coordinators and take their best plays in situations and put them in your best plays for situations. It's not that hard. so um so yeah, let's stay in the student section. Let's talk about Smitty. Hurts had Smitty. We know how good Smitty is. Yeah, Hurts got Smitty. Tua got Waddle. He's got Tyreek Hill, and Mac Jones has what? Juju Smith-Schuster and a tight end. Like, I don't know. I think the Patriots got to change their model. I know they try to get, you know, really affordable players that can play, but listen, I think great comment right here. Tua is quietly putting together a resume, and I think he's putting together a resume for MVP. Yes, I said it last year. Jalen was in the MVP race. Tua was as well until he got, you know, the injuries and the concussions. I wouldn't be surprised if Tua is right now. I think he's leading all quarterbacks in QBR, yardage, and just, you know, just stats in general. So, yeah, Tua might be up for that MVP race for sure. But yes, I'm excited to see how we make things happen. Let's go to the student section. Alabama Tide says yes. Reese screams, like, especially when you have a defensive end rushing up the field. A great way to stop it is have a running back chip or a tight end chip. And when he rushes, throw a screen. It's not that hard. Screens would just soften up these defenses. And they, listen, you get Justice Haynes in the open field with the screen, woo, you could do some damage. Yes, I'm talking about some damage. I still think Tommy Rees needs to get creative in his playbook and find the right plays for Jalen Miro and run the ball. Justin Summerlin, listen, this is what we do at Football University. I went back, I predicted we can easily have Dolphins, Eagles in the Super Bowl, Bama versus Bama, Jalen versus Tua. I mean, that could be interesting. So it would be interesting. Listen, I have heard a lot of talk about, you know, I know, shouts out to the student section here at Football University. I know a lot of y'all were saying how they need to bring the coordinators from the booth to the field, especially Tommy Rees, because it's not that hard. He needs to be right there by Coach Saban. That way Saban can chew him out, you know, and get him to calling the right plays. But yeah, a great comment right here by William Bryan. Says at least Bill Belichick got Bill O'Brien out of the booth. Yes, he got him back out of the booth, and he's on the field. And I think Saban needs to have him on the field. That way he could chew him out. He can actually see from his eye or view that you need to call this play, call a screen. It's not that hard. We got too many weapons that are being underutilized here at Alabama. So, like I said, I think Coach Saban gave him a you-know-what chewing, and I look to see a different type of Tommy Rees this week. And I think he addressed it by stopping the quarterback carousel that Tommy Rees was trying to do, get his guy Tyler Buckner in, get him some burn, try to run the system, and it was not working. We looked so horrendous Saturday versus USF. And yeah, I think the players are ready to rock and roll and get ready to handle the season. So Bama got back to Jalen Miro. Yeah, we did. So let's get to the comments. Stephen Hicks says, if we can't beat a peak defense, then maybe we just forfeit the season and call it a day. No, we can't forfeit the season because I'm telling you now, it is a crazy, crazy college. This is going to be one of those crazy college football seasons where you're going to have, right now, the Pac 12 has the best college football ranking. I mean, they got Oregon looking good, Washington looking good. I mentioned USC. All those teams, Oregon State with DJ Ugalele, all those guys are looking good. The Pac-12 is looking good. The SEC is the one that's struggling. Like I said, Florida beat Tennessee this past weekend, which I was kind of glad to see. See Tennessee. Listen, it's a lot of mid going on across the SEC. So don't sleep on Colorado at prime time. Shouts out to Dion doing his thing in Boulder, Colorado. So yeah, I mean, LSU, they look good, but they already got a loss. They lost to Florida State. Florida State barely beat Boston College. Texas struggled with Wyoming. That week 3, I'm telling you, it's going to be a crazy college football year. So we don't need to forfeit any season. We just need to go out there and handle our business week in and week out and keep grinding out the wins, no matter how ugly they are, no matter what. We just need to get the wins and get the victories. Listen, we got Bill Valentine's got his comment. Says we're in trouble. Miro, our best QB. We don't have a QB period. Looks like 7 and 5-year-olds. I mean, I get your comment. I get what you're saying. But I still think Miro's the best quarterback from what I've seen. I think Simpson's the second best quarterback, and I think our third best is Dylan Lonergan. I still think, regardless, our offensive line has got to shore up. I mean, it's the offensive line. No matter who the quarterback is, you can put Tom Brady back there. You can put you can put Dan Marino back there. You can put Joe Namath. If they don't have protection, they're not gonna look that great. So we got to get that squared away. Got a former teammate in the building, Tavares Cheatham in the house. What's up, Tavares? Roll Tide. We gotta make it happen. So to your point, Bill Valentine, we gotta get the offensive line. A great offensive line makes the offense look good because you can run the ball and you can protect the quarterback. So it's going to be interesting. I love this comment by Justin Summerlin. He says, listen, Saban will be different this Saturday. I guarantee it. I believe it as well. I think Coach Saban, from what I heard from this press conference, and I've been saying this here at Football University, I'm looking for the old Saban. We finally saw him chew out somebody on the sideline at the beginning of the game. I was like, thank you, guys. So I need him to just, get out of granddaddy mode. You can kiss the grandkids later, but right now I need you to be focused on getting this team rocking and rolling, because this is going to be a crazy football year. I'm telling you, it is going to be a crazy football year. Missouri, listen, the SEC East is that much more competitive. Missouri beat a top 15 team in Kansas State. And I was giving Missouri so much crap. So listen, the SEC East, Tennessee lost, which is good. Florida, everybody was talking how bad they were, and they beat Tennessee. So it's a crazy college football year. I'm telling you, I think the playoffs are going to have a couple 1-loss, 2-loss teams in the college football playoffs. So it's going to be this is just one of those odd years. I think it's going to happen in college football. I don't think you're going to, I can't name outside of, Colorado looks good. They're probably the most hyped up team, but I don't know if I don't think you have that world beater team. Everybody was saying, oh, Texas is the world beater, but they they were, kind of lock in step with Wyoming, and they were able to pull away. So, Texas is up there. Penn State is going to be pretty tough. Shouts out to Eric Knox. Penn State's going to be pretty tough. I got them coming out the Big Ten. I think Texas is going to be pretty tough. Penn State. Listen, Florida State's got to play Clemson this weekend. That's going to be a tricky game in South Carolina. Listen, don't sleep on Dabo Swinney to come up with the big upset versus Boston College. And then, don't sleep on Duke. It is a weird year. I'm telling you, Alabama just got to handle winning the game. I don't care how ugly, long as they win them, they have an opportunity to get in the playoffs. So, Van Edwards says, I have all the faith in Miro. He shows leadership quality, he shows loyalty, he shows humbleness. We can mold a winner from that. I think that's what we needed to see. And that's what Coach Saban basically said at his press conference today. He basically said I needed to see what type of leadership he was. I mean, the guy was still leading the team, first one on the sideline, first one cheering. Like I said, the viral clip of him cheering for the guys who are behind you, and they might not have cheered for you. That shows what type of character you have. And we can all learn something from Jalen Miro, from Jalen Hurts about character, leadership, dealing with adversity. Now we just got to get this offensive line shored up, and Tommy Rees. Tommy Rees has got to get his act together. I mean, football's not that hard. Call a game plan around your QB and make it happen. Let's go on this run. We've had 3 games to iron it out. Let's make it happen. As far as Cheatham says, I hope we can fix the O-line because we look like good trash. Yes, hot trash at that. Waste management trash. We got to get the offensive line because all these teams are looking at chops. You look at Pete Golden, all he's going to do is put a speed rusher on that end with Caden Proctor or whatnot. But I think we can make some things happen versus this game. This is going to be a big test. Like I said, I think if we can get past Ole Miss, I think that just sets up for SEC play moving forward. That can help us get a lot of momentum going into that. I think our toughest road games are going to be at College Station, going against Jimbo Fisher and the Tex Aggies, and going to Auburn with Hugh Freeze. That's just going to be always a challenge going to Jordan Hare. But the victory is so much sweeter once we win in Jordan Hare. So, yeah. Great comment right here. Robin says, Tommy Rees and Tyler Buckner need to get back in the transfer portal. I wouldn't be surprised if they both are in the transfer portal. I think Coach Saban might have laid it on Tommy Rees for this debacle he has put the Alabama Crimson Tide football team in. I think it's been embarrassing, quite honestly. And Coach Saban's had to take the brunt of it, dealing with the media. And I think his tipping point was after the game, having to do this quarterback carousel and, Tommy Rees put Buckner, his guy, out there. I wouldn't be surprised if, like I said, this is what we do at Football University. I wouldn't be surprised if Coach Saban's got plans in place for how maybe Holloman Wiggins, who's the assistant head coach and who's probably an up-and-coming offensive coordinator, him or Joe Cox probably maybe calling the plays, maybe with Gillespie getting the right run game in. Listen, it is what it is. Great comment right here, Van Edwards, talking about body language and your demeanor. Reese made me mad during the Texas game, head down, rubbing his head. The moment was too big for him. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's in the booth. He's got to, you got to have positive body language regardless. Take a book from Jalen Miro. I mean, this guy was benched or didn't play Saturday, but was his head down? No. He was still being positive, showing good leadership skills, positive body language, and that's something Tommy Rees has got to get his act together. That's what I'm saying. Tommy Rees, it is on him. So, Let's see. Robin says Milroe is great with the right on line. He will be better than Bryce. I don't know about better than Bryce Young. I will say he could look, really good. You can have moments, but I think it's not only has to be the right offensive line, Robin. I think it's got to be not only the right offensive line, but the theme of the show. Tommy Rees has got to call the right game. He's got to call the right game to his strength. Kudos to Bill O'Brien. I know we give Bill O'Brien a lot of crap, but he called plays to build Bryce Young's strengths. And so he put a lot on Bryce Young. Bryce Young had to set the protection. He had to set the adjustment. He had to set the front. He had to get in the right play. He had to do the audible. So it was a lot on Bryce Young's plate. So, I think Alabama is important that, not only is it the offensive line, but Tommy Rees has got to get his act together and put together a game plan and be creative with the offense. You got all this talent. It's not that hard. Tommy Rees, come on, guy. This is what we do. Get your act together. So, yeah, let's stay in the student section real quick. He said, the receivers are the run bright spot. I think the receivers and the running backs, and I'll say our downhill running game looks really good. If we can just run the ball and, put a game plan around Jalen Milroe and do quick passes, we know he can hit the home run when you set it up and give him protection, but we got to be strategic and have these defenses guessing. Is it going to be RPO? Is it going to be quick game? Or is it going to be the home run? It doesn't need to be all these slow, long developing routes when defenses are giving us a short, quick passing game. We need to be able to adjust. And I thought a good offensive coordinator would do that. And obviously, Tommy Rees, he needs to get his act together. So all my praying people out there, please pray that God gives Tommy Rees some creative wisdom and some understanding and some knowledge of how to use call plays for Jalen Milroe's strengths. It's not that hard. So that'll be in my prayer list tonight. So let's stay in this student section. Yes, I thought the defense looked really good. We finally had a good pass rush. We were able to get some good pass rushes versus, like I said, and we didn't have Jaheim Otis, and I don't know what to say about that, but Chris Braswell, I think, was one of the top graded defensive ends across the country when it comes to pressure. He looked really Braswell, Dallas Turner were getting off blocks. I think we got a lot of momentum to, go in playing against the Ole Miss Rebels. So Justin Summers said, let Milroe get comfortable and he will be great. You have to get him comfortable by giving him confidence. You give him confidence by giving him quick, easy throws, putting the game plan around him. That's how you build confidence. That's how you get him more comfortable. That's all these other teams you look at. We talked about Quinn Ewers and Sark. That's what Sark did for Quinn Ewers. It's not rocket science. That's how you build confidence. That's how you build more comfortable, confident player in your quarterback. That's what the great offensive coordinators do, and that's what I thought Tommy Rees was going to do. But I'm quite sure he got the chewing from Coach Saban. At least I heard it. I hope so. So, give him some pocket protection. He can hit the home run. He hit all those deep balls to Burton and Bond and Amari and the Black and all those guys. Listen, we can hit the home runs. Let's just shore up the quick game when the defense is giving it to us, and let's run the ball with Jason McClellan, with Roydell Williams. It was one frustrating call. This is when I knew Tommy Rees was just, had me irked throughout the game. He left Tyler Buckner in there 3 2-minute series. And B, we were on like those. It was like second and goal. No, we. I think Rodell Williams had a big run. We got to like close to the goal line. He comes back with this second down play and calls a pass. I'm like, why are you calling pass when Jason McClellan is averaging 6 yards? Rodell Williams eating. Our offensive line, there's one good thing they can do is run block because they are big across the board. Why are you calling the pass in a condensed area? I'm not understanding. So hopefully Tommy Rees, Tommy Rees, in the words of Carla Hinton, I hope you are listening on this live because football is not that hard. Let's get this win. Yeah, let's get this win on Saturday. I mean, we got to make it happen. We got to make this happen. And I'm telling you, listen, Tommy Rees, I'm quite sure he got some difficult calls trying to. He might have got some. Listen, Bama fans, they don't play about Alabama football, and there's no way you're gonna come back to Tuscaloosa looking very vanilla, very mid, and not address the situation. He might have had some random calls at night, telling him to get his what together. It probably was from Terry Saban and Coach Saban blowing him up. So listen, Tommy Rees, you gotta listen. Get your act together, man. It's not that hard. Listen, Robin, I don't think you have to worry about them putting Buckner in because I believe Buckner is probably going to be in the portal. He's probably going to be like fourth string. Like I said, I think our quarterbacks, top two quarterbacks, Milroe Simpson, Dylan Lonergan, and I think Buckner experience is no more. And I think Reese got exposed trying to do his own little thing with this offense. And I think Coach Saban saw how this affected the team. One thing Coach Saban is about, the Coach Saban that I know, he does not play about his players. And if the players come to Saban and say, listen, I don't like what this guy is doing, and I think Coach Saban will look into the locker room and say, listen, I don't like what's going on. He's gonna chew out his coaches. At least that's what I've known him to do. So Saban, don't be the granddaddy type of we don't need you to be soft. Chew Tommy Rees. Stay on his neck all season. And Coach Wolf, make sure they get this game plan down pat, for us to be good. I like this. Make Saban mean again. Can we get the hats? I would love a good hat that says make Saban mean again. Please. I need a broken headset at least after pregame warm-ups. Just come out and just break one just to get it off your chest, Coach Saban. And then because listen, that's going to set the tone for the coaches and the players. They're going to be like, ooh, Coach Saban's on his you-know-what. We got to come ready to play, ready to tighten up. So, yeah, let's make it happen. So let's stay in the student section. Let's we got some good comments. Yeah, I do think Milroe gives us the best chance to win, be jamming. With his running ability, he can at least get us in field goal range. We got the best kicker in the game with Will Reichert. Burnup's doing things, but we need to keep those guys off the field and get points. This is when I knew Tommy Rees' experience was struggling. We had not scored a touchdown in like 4 or 5 quarters. And so, listen, Tommy Rees, I think he was trying to do his – I don't want to say a mutiny, but I think he was trying to do his own thing. And I think Coach Saban got whiff of it and said, no more, sir. This is my team. I'm still the captain of this ship, and you're going to do what I say. And listen, I hope Saban got it right, and I hope that we prove it on Saturday versus the Rebels. So, yeah. How to get the calm down aggressive defense with your offense. Surgeon Man says, yeah, you with a good running game, you can come off with a good running game, a good play action. You can have a good screens, RPOs or running quarterback. That can we know we've struggled with running quarterbacks in the past. So I think that's how you can shut down an aggressive defense. So listen, I hope the Tide gets it right. Listen, it's going to fall on Tommy Rees. I'm going to keep saying it again. Tommy Rees, Eric Wolf, and Coach Saban. I need Saban to make Saban mean again. I love that comment. Let's make Saban mean again, and let's get this victory versus Lane Kiffin. If we can get that started, we'll make it happen. So, listen, that was a great thing that we did have. We did have to deal with fourth downs, and Lane is going to try to do that all game Saturday. 4th and 6, 4th and 7. He's going to go for it. And that's one good thing our defense is going to be tested for versus that we got tested versus USF. It was a lot of fourth downs that they were going for, and they converted. We got a fake punt. So I think we got a lot to learn that we can move forward, and hopefully we put it all together versus Ole Miss and make this SEC run. Because I said this is what we do at Football University. This is going to be a crazy year of college football. Mark my word. I'm telling you, it's going to be and we know Lane's trying to play mind games, so it is what it is. So we already know what he's trying to do, and Saban's put a stop to that in this press conference. So, let's roll. Let's pull for the Tide. Let's get behind Milroe. Let's pray. Let's hopefully Tommy Rees gets a game plan. Let's hope Wolford knows how to develop the offensive line, and we can make this thing happen. So this is what we do at Football University. Another great episode. Shouts out to the student section: Stephen Hicks, Robin, Justin Summerlin, Carla Hinton, Lori Cadell, William Bryant, Eric Knox, Tavares Cheatham, Van Edwards. Always great to listen to you. William Bryant, Stephen Hicks, Spencer. Listen, Nick Saban Jr. Listen, glad to have y'all on. Tune in next Monday for another episode of Football University with me, Macadam. Hopefully the Tide has beaten the Ole Miss Rebels. So we'll make it happen. See you all next week here at Football University. Same time, same channel. And let's make it happen. Peace.